It's Tommy Coulter, Stocks and Sports. We're here in the Ocala, Florida studio tonight on this Thursday night. We got a special guest. We were expecting G to be calling in about the fights, and instead we got Mr. TJ Green, our pot stock analyst. TJ, are you there?
Yeah, what's up? How you doing? How you doing, Tommy Coulter? It's TJ.
TJ Green, we're so good for you to check in tonight. Now, before we start this conversation, give us an update on Bruce Juice, Jim Cramer's Canopy, the quarterback of the pot stocks. I was telling you before the interview, I had this
Bruce.
one guy saying that the pot stocks, they've I forget what he said. They've just really gotten beat up. What is going on with the pot stocks?
They really have. You got to be really selective, and you just got to remember to think long term with this. Don't do any short term panicking. But Bruce doesn't look good, and Canopy, they look really bad. I think they're shutting down 2 greenhouses, and I really don't think the drinks are going to take off for them. So I'm nervous for Bruce. He don't look good.
So Canopy you're a little bit scared of.
Yeah, I really wouldn't touch Canopy, and they're still losing a lot of money. I'm still going to stick to my main pick of Organigram. They look really financially healthy, and I think those Edison chocolate bites are going to be a hit.
Edison chocolate.
Yeah, it's one of their brands. They have one of their brands they have is Edison. That's how they brand some of their cannabis strains. And, they have Edison bites. They converted their Edison cannabis into Edison chocolate bites.
Oh my gosh, I like that. Why not take a look at Hershey's, ticker HSY, with the chocolate?
Yeah, maybe a good option. I haven't looked into any Hershey's, but I don't know what they're trading at. It's not something I follow.
Well, let's get a little bit controversial here. The last time I really bugged you, and I said I wanted to bring up this PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I like a little bit of Irish drama, but I wanted to touch base with you before we forget about the legalization, what's going on with the legalization. We know we got an election year. We don't like talking anything negative, but this virus. But let's focus on PTSD for a minute with pot and the cannabis stocks. What's your take on all that stuff? Let me throw that stuff out there at you, and then let's get your take on using cannabis as a way to help our vets, like guys like Alberto.
Definitely.
Where are you at with that? And then I'll just sit back and listen.
I definitely think the cannabis, it can definitely help the veterans with the PTSD. I don't have any PTSD, thank God. But I think with PTSD, I think it causes nightmares. I think you have nightmares a lot of the time.
Okay.
And if you're a regular pothead, one of the things with smoking weed is you don't actually remember your dreams. You don't actually have dreams.
Okay.
So I think if you're having really bad nightmares and you start smoking weed, before bed, I think the chances of your nightmares going away might be pretty good. It may be something for I guess the government to look into, or even vets who are suffering from it to maybe give cannabis a try.
Instead of doing like a regular, I think there was talk about the opioid or whatever online, or I was watching something.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
So would you say that maybe
that's real bad stuff? I wouldn't touch that.
And then let's stay with the cannabis a second. There's something else that I missed that me and you had talked about a couple months ago, which was like up and down. So you got cannabis or pot stocks or weed as you're calling it, which is controversial. They legalized it in Canada, which was when Tilray and all those other stocks went wild.
Yeah, and I think Mexico's Senate just passed it. They're working on getting it through. I think they have a deadline by like April 30th. They got to get it done. because of their Supreme Court ruled it was unconstitutional for weed to be illegal.
I just like where you're thinking with this chocolate, because what I wanted to touch base on, which might be like a whole nother Maroon 5 stocks and sports shift here, the vapes. We had talked a little bit about the vapes, and I know that the vaping and the inhaling of the cannabis is not healthy, but maybe if they put this into chocolate, like Hershey and stuff like that, maybe it would help, these guys that are suffering with the PTSD, opioids. And then, can you touch base with the vaping? What's your take on the vaping? I know that got popular with the kids, which we don't like doing any negative stuff, but, let me just let you ramble for a little bit, Philly style.
I think with the vaping, I used to smoke cigarettes heavily for years. I've been doing the Juul pod vaping for the past 2. I feel like personally, I feel a lot better doing the vaping than smoking cigarettes. I don't smell like shit anymore either. There's not really any smell with this vape. But we really don't know the long-term effects of the vaping. So, with anything, in moderation, I would say if you don't smoke, don't start vaping. But if you do smoke cigarettes, you may want to look into possibly vaping and trying to eventually quit. With the stuff that happened with the vape cartridges, I feel a lot of it was the black market cartridges that caused all the lung problems. As long as you're buying legit vaporizers at a dispensary, you shouldn't really have any problems. It's the ones that you're buying off of the street that may be a little bit skeptical.
No, that's really good. Thank you for sharing all this stuff, because there's really a lot to it. Let's do another Maroon 5 shift. Let's stay with the pot stocks, as I call them, or cannabis stocks. Tell us more about the states where it's legal in, and then I might want to zoom in on Las Vegas for a minute, Nevada. But tell me about the states that you know that it's in. We got an election year coming.
There's a lot of states where it's medically legal now for recreational purposes. It's legal all out west, California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, Massachusetts.
What was going on with New York? I didn't mean to cut you off or interrupt you. What was going on with New York, and what was the politician guy, Boehner? You told me stuff about Boehner.
Well, Boehner's involved now with a company. He's tied to Acreage Holdings. He was once the Speaker of the House who really didn't let any weed bills go through when he was, in a position where he could have kind of helped the industry. And now he gets to work in the industry. He gets to sit on the board of Acreage Holdings, which is kind of really comical when you really think about it, how you prevented something from moving forward for so many years, and now you're taking part of a brand new industry. It's almost, in a sense, kind of unfair, I feel like, but that's an argument for another day, I think.
And then let's head back to Canopy and Bruce, as we call him,
not to mention, that's something, a whole nother segment when you think about it. You have these states where it's legal now, but you also have all these people who have, been in prison for weed, let's just say, and now they can't even get jobs, but you have these millionaires who can now get licensed in and sell it legally. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
It is. It's, I guess, real world reporting that you're doing with this conversation. It's going to open up, a lot of different
doors you can.
There is. It's really crazy with all this stuff. But back to Boehner and Acreage and New York. Let's talk a little bit about New York, because you got the Yankees down here.
The governor there, Cuomo's the governor. I think he's trying to get it through. But I think they've been struggling to get a bill through. I don't know if all the Senate's on board in that state. New Jersey, my home state, they've been ready, getting put on our ballot in November.
Oh, really? I didn't even know.
November of this year, it'll be on our ballot. So hopefully it passes, and then by January it should be here.
Yeah, because the money in that, I mean, do you have a number on how big that business is? If it did get like legalized, like the black market, like what are we talking numbers? Because we just said the pot stocks have been really banged up. You know, maybe it's a time to buy them on a dip. You know what I mean? And to help with the sleep disorders, you got sleep disorders.
I think you got to be selective with the companies. You know, a company like Canopy's losing a lot of money. Aurora Cannabis is another one you should really kind of probably stay away from. Like I said, the one that I really like is Organigram. The way they operate is just very efficient. And I think how they did everything when you're looking at all these companies, you know, Canopy and Aurora, they tried to go so heavy with like expanding and buying all these different greenhouses when really all you need is one location to just really be efficient and just distribute it out of the one location.
Oh yeah, this is really good stuff.
You know, so that's really why I like, you know, Organigram. I feel like their management team is really strong in the fact that they held their ground. And something I've read in some of the articles from like Motley Fool is I guess even their location where they are in Canada, they're more on the eastern side, and I guess the numbers do show that people on the eastern side of Canada smoke more weed than other people. So the fact that they're in a market where there's more potheads, they may be able to do some damage there and get a strong grip on those potheads there, you know?
Right, but it's a big, as far as the numbers, you're looking at like $1 billion, like if New York, you know, back to New York and the legalization, I mean, what are we looking at, like billions? I mean, is there a number on it? Like,
man, I don't really know a number. I don't really think anyone knows a number because there's no way, you know, this industry is all in the dark for the most part. I would say it's probably in the billions.
It's $1 billion market with the cannabis or pot stocks. We're allowed to call it that because it is legal. Let's shift over to Vegas. You know I had played that Planet 13, and you brought up the Motley Fool. So, I mean, we're covering a lot. I'm looking at the clock. We're on like 12 minutes. We might end up going 20 minutes just to get caught up because it's been so many months. And then we can do clips or I can do excerpts on this. You know?
Yeah, I would say, you know, if you're looking to invest in the industry, I think Organigram is a really good company. Another one, I really want to wait till I see the next earnings report before I really put a buy on it. But Charlotte's Web has really been hammered. They're a U.S. CBD play. They're another one that's really gotten their face kicked in. So you know, if you're looking to invest in this industry, you know, those are two to probably look at. But I would definitely, me personally, before I would really put a buy on Charlotte's Web, I want to wait till their next earnings report, which is, I think, over the next couple weeks, though.
All right, so Charlotte's Web and the one that I was playing, Planet 13, those guys are like small cap or OTC stocks, whereas you got this Organigram, ticker OGI.
They're on the NASDAQ.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're on the NASDAQ.
Wondered if you can play options with them, because I know you can with Organigram, for the guys that play the options. Organigram, you definitely can play options on that, you know?
Yeah.
But Charlotte's Web, they were up to, I think, around 20 a share. What are they at now? I think last time I looked, 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're at about $5 a share. They were, what was that, 25, I think, at one point last year.
So it's March 2020, March 5th. I just looked at the calendar, Thursday. So, I mean, that's really interesting with the pot stocks. But let's go back to Vegas, because this is stocks and sports. So out in Vegas, you got Gruden. You know, John Gruden out there now. You got, I don't know if there's XFL out there, but they got that hockey team too. They got a lot going on in Vegas. It's been 20 years since I've been out there, and that's when I was doing that Planet 13. You mentioned Motley Fool with Sean, and who's the other guy they got? Keith Spites. You know, they're both good guys that were covering cannabis there for a while.
They do a great job with their articles.
Now, how do you see yourself? I mean, I see yourself with a great future, possibly. How would you feel if you were to interview Bruce Linton from Canopy? Or you and Bruce are driving around in a Tesla out in Vegas, You know, he hears about us, he hears about you. All of a sudden, you got a chance to maybe interview him like once a month. You know, I don't know who he resurfaced with. You know, we thought the world of him with Canopy. You know, and Kramer liked him too. You know, so you got you and Bruce, you're out there in Vegas, Planet 13, checking that out. What's something that you would ask Bruce Lynn? I mean, what would be a question you would have for him, the quarterback of the pod stocks, you know?
Man, I really don't know, to be honest with you. I don't really, not for nothing, I don't really think I'd want to talk to Bruce. I'd really like to meet Mr. Engel for Organigram's CEO.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd like to ask him more with, you know, what's going on with the partnership with, I think the name of the company was Hycenef, is who they're involved with, because they're trying to, you know, maybe, you may not even have to grow the weed. They may be able, with the agreement they have with Hycenef, there was something going on where they may be able to make it from yeast, which would be a lot more cost efficient. So I'd like to ask Mr. Engel, you know, what's going on with that aspect, how they're making any strides with, you know, getting weed from yeast.
So that would be somebody that we should try to target, you know, is maybe getting you involved with OGI, Organigram, and getting them, because they did have a good balance sheet. They were actually close to trying to make money, right?
Yeah, they're very close to being profitable. So
they probably got a good balance sheet. All right, now let's do a little shift here. I mean, we talked almost 60.
Yeah, I think the TJ Green, I think I'm gonna check out. I wanted to say, Mr. Coulter, thanks for having me on this Stocks and Sports interview tonight.
Well, I want to do a shift with you. I mean, we're gonna stay.
No, I gotta get going. But
we did the pawn stocks. Oh, hold on a second. Just give me 1 second. I wanted to do a sports shift.
I don't really know what's going on with the sports. I don't have time to follow those guys.